And we did not miss a beat during that commercial break here on Home Track Heroes. We've got 40 laps to go, even though 39 is where it shows you on your screen right now. It's still Dawson Cox in the lead. Greg Bennett in the 98 continues his impressive run, with Thomas Stanford maybe even a more impressive run. First time in a pro late model in that number 19.
Yeah, and we look back now to the 78 of Haley Constance, still holding off the 18 of Naima Lang. So just a great run here by the young driver of the 78 car, holding off your points leader, the 18 of Naima Lang, as they head down the backstretch coming into turn number 3. But, you know, Naima fans won't like to hear me saying this, but you just almost love to see that, right? Because it's that additional experience the 78 is looking for, and looking forward so much to see the 78 car out here for the Summer Showdown on that Friday night, the 23rd of July. So we continue to look here at the 78 of Haley Constance and the 18 of Naima Lang as they come now out of turn number 4 and head towards the front stretch. But Dawson Cox still out in the lead on this one, the 98 of Greg Bennett and the 19 of Thomas Stanford, your top 3.
All right, Naima took a look down on the inside as it came out at turn number 4. Haley with a great job keeping that 18 tucked back behind her, about half a car length off her rear bumper.
And this segment is brought to you by Nelson Motorsports. Nelson Motorsports in Snohomish. They offer a full-service sale and repair shop. Great prices on ATVs, quads, karts, and bikes. Make Nelson Motorsports your one-stop center for fun motorized vehicles.
There you go. Thanks, Nelson Motorsports, for being a part of this, and everybody that signs on board here to Home Track Heroes as we are 16 laps into our final event of the night. Lights have finally started to take over as another gorgeous night out here in Monroe, Washington for great Saturday night. Want to remind you, our next show that we're going to have on a week from tonight will be covering the Figure 8 Nationals from Evergreen Speedway, and it will be a tribute night for our recently departed friend Eric Allison. Each of the Figure 8 classes that we'll be running will be 64 laps apiece in honor of the memory of Eric Allison, who we lost a couple of weeks ago, and that will be a pretty neat deal. Coming up, you can still get tickets on evergreenspeedway.com for the July 23rd and 24th for the 2021 Summer Showdown. And we talked about it pretty much all event long, all show long, but this is really an important one. This is the big show of the year, and there's still tickets left. Get on to evergreenspeedway.com. A lot of great drivers are coming out. A lot of name drivers are making their way out too. That'll be racing with some of these guys you're seeing on your screen right now. There's several of them that are in this race that are signed up both to run the Pro Late Model 125 lapper on Friday night, and then the 200 lapper, and changing their cars over for Super Late Model race for 200 laps on the 24th. So there's one of them right there, Naima Lang. I believe he may be set up for Super Late Model. We'll have to check that, but I know several of the guys. Greg Bennett is set up for, and it looks like Naima may just run the Pro Late Model event. Haley Constance, the neat part about the Haley Constance car, there'll also be her dad Joe racing on the 125 lapper on the 23rd too. So hopefully those two will do some duking it out for supremacy in the Constance. I'd be curious to see what that bet would be. That could be kind of interesting.
Loser does the dishes for the next year, I guess.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
And you know, you've been talking about the Summer Showdown, and we're so excited for that event coming up on the 23rd and 24th. I love these Speedway Chevrolet Pro Late models on this 3/8 track, but there's just something different. There's something, an excitement that's in the crowd when we see cars out on the 5/8 oval. It's just it's a special moment. It only happens a couple of times a year, and coming up on the 23rd and 24th, it's you know, bring your camping gear if you need a place to camp. There's great spots around the racetrack, but come out for the whole weekend. It's going to be a great show.
Several past winners of the showdown are going to be on the entry list. Preston Peltier, who has won the last 3 consecutive showdowns, he will be back up to run in both the Pro Late Model on Friday night and the Super Late Models on Saturday, so keep an eye. Preston Peltier just absolutely dominates on the 5/8 when he's here. Also, Taylor Riddle will be out of Yakima. His brother Taylor and his brother Owen, I'm sorry, will be in the super late model division. So it's going to be a wild night and a wild day. And again, get your tickets on evergreenspeedway.com. All right, we're just past the halfway point here. Thomas Stanford in that third position, trying to hold off the number 89 car of Donnie Wannett. And so impressed by that number 19 car and the talent behind the wheel. And Thomas Stanford, I think, is going to really make some noise once he gets comfortable in that number 19 car. Meanwhile, back up front, it is all Dawson Cox with about a second and a half to a second three-quarter lead over the number 98 car of Greg Bennett. And you still see the battle between the 19. Meanwhile, back up front, there's how big a lead that Dawson has. You can just see Greg coming into the frame in turn number 3. And he would kind of hang out to be about a second and a half to 2 seconds back pretty much for the entire race. His name has finally gotten around to 78 of Haley Constance night. And one thing I did want to mention before we get to the end of this, it was so cool to see how well both Haley Constance did, and remember in the Galloway, Dawson Cox, who he had Namath just glued to his back bumper cover, and they did so impressive with that kind. And that's a lot of pressure when you look up and you see a cat like Namath Lang with all of his championships and experiences in your rearview mirror. They both did an impressive job. You know, we've coming up on 17 laps to go. Well, it shows 18. I'm starting to see a little bit of something coming out of the 98.
Yeah, and it looks like he's starting to narrow that gap just a little bit as we've been watching Dawson Cox with that substantial lead and growing it slowly but surely as we kind of tick off the laps here. But like you said, the 98 starting to kind of catch up just a little bit as we continue to watch this good battle here with Donnie Wannett and the 89 and the 19 of Thomas Stanford. And so we'll see what happens here as the battle for third continues with the 89 and the 19, but hope to see what kind of action we can have between the 98 of Greg Bennett and the 70 of Dawson Cox as they battle it out with 16 laps remaining.
You know, Greg, one of the things that was a bit of a concern, especially with this race coming up, and I think it may have been one of the reasons why it was kept to a 50-lap main event, because usually we'll put these guys out for 75 or a couple of 50-lap races in one night. The tires that have been a thorn in everyone's side this year, the availability, and doesn't pick your reason for the delay in getting them. A lot of these cars are running on some pretty old tires, and I'm wondering if Greg maybe isn't thinking, well, you know, I've got these old tires on, I better really put some emphasis on not overdriving them, because knowing Greg, he's kind of thinking in the back of his mind, man, I got one shot to get around that 7, so I better step it up. And you can tell that he's doing that. He's getting closer every lap as they get underneath the 10 of Cottrell. And it looks like Greg Bennett's plan might be coming to fruition here as he's getting close to the back of the 7 of Cox.
Yeah, you know, when we were watching Dawson Cox, it was like no other drivers were in the frame at all, and now you see Greg Bennett in the 98 there. Definitely closing that gap, so it's always fun, especially as we get down now towards 12 laps, almost 11 laps remaining in this Speedway Chevrolet Pro Late Model main event, to kind of start to see some action in a battle for first, as we've been watching the battle for third between Thomas Stanford and Donnie Wannett, and that's been exciting to watch too. But it'll be really interesting to see if that 98 car is able to close in on the 7D as they come into turn number 3.
Yeah, you can see John Peterson down in the flag stand with both of his hands out, fingers all of them out, all 10 of them, letting the drivers know there's 10 laps to go. And Greg Bennett now, and I remember when we were up there, because you and I were calling this race on the PA when it was happening, and I'm thinking, oh, I know I got to go down and talk to these guys and bring them up to the Angel Owens podium. I think I'm going to go with 10 laps. I think that'll be all right. I won't miss anything. And then all of a sudden, we're counting laps down, and Greg is just getting closer and closer and closer. And I don't think that anything is really up with Dawson's car. I think Greg is just playing out a strategy.
Yeah, and you know, it's I was kind of watching too as we look back here in that battle. We have the 89 of Donnie Wannett currently in 4th, and there comes Namath Lang in 5th now. And I was so hyper-focused on Donnie Wannett and Namath Lang that you know, it was such a good battle going back and forth, and you almost expect to see Namath Lang make some good moves here as we have 8 laps now remaining, now 7. But you know, so focused on watching the 18 and the 89 that I started to almost miss the 98 starting to close that gap between him and the 78. 70 of Dawson Cox. But definitely fun to watch this between Naima Lang and Donnie Wannett here as we look to see if the 18 car is able to get around the 89 for fourth.
Oh, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Check this out. 6 laps to go, and he is there. Took a look on the inside. Coming out of turn number 2, Dawson running the middle groove. Greg Bennett hanging that Camaro is just as tight as he can. Taking a look, got a little bit of a position down on the inside. Let's see if he can get that with 5 laps to go, and Bennett does it. He gets out in front of the 7. Now Dawson's going to try and do the crossover. Gets into him, and what a great move. 2 of them right there. The save by Greg Bennett, and the way that Dawson backed out of it and let Bennett get collected back up. That was some amazing driving on both guys' part. Meanwhile, that puts Dawson back up into the lead by about 2 car lengths over the 98 of Bennett.
Yeah, and like you said, what an amazing recovery to see Greg Bennett start to go sideways in turn number 4, able to bring it back around, and now look as he goes trying to go low into turn number 1 on the 70 of Dawson Cox, unable to do so, but now coming out of turn number 2 down the backstretch, it looks like Greg Bennett in the 98 might get there, not exactly right here in turn number 3, but in turn number 4 on the low side, the 98 of Greg Bennett able to get side by side with the 70 of Dawson Cox. Dawson still holding the slight advantage,
but
awful fun to watch.
Wow, look at Bennett side by side down on the inside. Dawson Cox up on the outside. 2 laps to go. They will see, and look at that. As the white flag flies, the lead goes to Greg Bennett, and boy, it's going to get crazy if that can hold up. Greg Bennett now with a great run off at turn number 2 with 3 car lengths in between the 98 and the 7. Dawson manages to pick up a little bit of steam coming into turn number 3, but washes it out high, and the checkered flag goes to Greg Bennett. You might see some guy in a denim shirt absolutely going crazy. Yeah, that guy there with his hand up in the air, that's a longtime friend of Greg Bennett's and remembers his last time he got a win in a late model was back in 1998. And
wow.
I got to interview him then, and I am so gassed about this win coming up. It was just so cool. And I told Greg, I said, at the driver's meeting, I said, man, it's your night. You're going to win it. And sure enough, he does. Let's go talk to him down at the Angel of the Winds. Ladies and gentlemen, a lot of you know how cool this is, but for those of us that have known this guy for 20 plus years, to see this happen tonight, I'm so proud of you. Here, it's all yours.
Oh man, I tell you what, actually, before I say anything else, I want to commemorate this race to Darcy Burns. She's a good friend of mine, lost her battle with cancer. She's been on the hood of the car, and I've actually got her memorial taped inside the car. She's looking over us tonight. So I tell you what, these are a great group of guys to run with. Dawson put up a hell of a fight, and I was just so happy that we didn't finish as well as we wanted to last race. So it was nice to come out and have the car be fast.
And I got to tell you, I was telling Greg up above with about 10 laps to go, I was thinking, you know, this might be by design. Was that how it worked out?
Well, the first part of it worked out to get by Naima and Donnie, but Dawson was running a hell of a pace. So Doug was just, my son is in the radio with me, and he's just saying, you're getting them little by little on every lap. So I just kept digging, and I got him.
All right. Before you go, I am so proud of you. Much respect, my friend. Bennett Design and Construction, Highway Auto Supply. Greg Bennett. Boy, did he gain some respect for you the way that race went. That was so much fun to watch, Dawson. Well done.
I had a blast racing it. After how the first half of our day went, I'm just happy to be where I am. First practice, we got together with another guy, did some pretty good body damage to the car, and then when we came in from the pits, I grenaded the transmission. So we ended up having to borrow one from Zach. I really appreciate that. I couldn't have done it without those guys and everybody else that helped us fix it. Got to thank all the people that helped. My dad, Steve Cox, John Bender, Dave Riddell, Zach Larson, I think Michaela Larson, because I think she changed her name. Yeah, for letting them give me the and then Kelly Tanner and I'm Augie, the tire guy. I'm sure I'm forgetting people. Everybody helps me, and I appreciate it. Huge thanks to my sponsors, Busch Light and Anheuser-Busch.
Good to have you back out here, and boy, that looked like a real comfortable fit.
Yeah, we're off to a good start here. I mean, this is something I was hoping for, something I was dreaming of, but really the goal today was just to get some laps, get comfortable in the race car, and if we had a good finish, that was just cherry on top. And so I'm so thrilled to be on the podium. I mean, I had Donnie Wannett breathing down my neck all race long. I mean, he's been doing this forever, so Name Lang's out there. I mean, Greg Bennett, Dawson Cox, these are some good race car drivers, and to be out here competing with them is pretty special. I got to say big thanks to my dad. I mean, we've been working insane hours trying to get this thing ready. We've just been so busy all summer since we bought it. The Tanner family, they've been immense help for my whole racing career. My wife, my whole crew, my sponsors, APC Auto Spa, Easy Street Asphalt, Frost Livestock, Hager. It's just, I'm so happy right now.
All right, I'm tired of watching that again. That was just, like we were telling you earlier, Greg and I were out there calling this race that night, and to see Greg get the win, his first win since 1998, and he has been so, I mean, you know, you go down, you talk to those guys, you mentioned it earlier, they've always got time for anybody that comes by. It's a father and son operation with his son, Doug, the crew chief on the car, and does the spotting for him. And everyone was just so happy, and props to Dawson Cox, because when those two got together battling for the lead, and that's all it was, one of them racing things, Dawson had enough presence of mind to back out, let the 98 collect itself, and go back to it, and almost pulled out the win too. But congratulations to all involved. That was so cool.
Yeah, and I think the surprise of the night for me maybe is the 18 Nema Lang not being up on the podium, right? That's something we're not used to seeing. Nema's leading this points in this Speedway Chevrolet Pro Late division here, but Nema still had a great race, but unfortunately not able to get to the podium.
And they will get that figured out, I guarantee you. Okay, coming up next Sunday here on Home Track Heroes, we'll have our coverage of the Figure 8 Nationals from Evergreen Speedway, the time for our Figure 8 group to shine, and they'll be doing it in honor and memory of Eric Allison, who drove the number 64 car for quite a few years out here. Sadly, we lost him about a week and a half ago, and a lot of good memories and good thoughts about our loss of our friend Eric. All right, coming up Friday and Saturday, the 23rd and the 24th, get on to Evergreen Speedway. We want to see you coming out both nights. 125 lap Speedway Chevrolet Pro Late Model main event on Friday, 200 laps for the Super Late Models. Get on to Evergreen Speedway, and we'll see you out at the racetracks. For everybody involved with Home Track Heroes, we thank you for your support. We thank you for watching. We'll see you next week right here on CW11 for Home Track Heroes.
Thanks for watching Evergreen Speedway's Home Track Heroes on CW11. Join us next week for more great racing from Evergreen Speedway.